What's up, Chucky? Aren't they such beautiful, majestic creatures? I mean, they're just... I mean, look, Chucky, for example, he's had its fair share of kills out here. If that's even a thing to a cat, right? That's a thing to a human, but it ain't shit to a cat. So he's had a number of kills out here. In particular, I've counted a few snakes, a few mice, mainly squirrels. What's up, buddy? Chucky. He doesn't like the sun too much, so he's under there to try to get a little bit of shelter from the sun. This one particularly is darker and likes the sun. He actually likes to be out during the day. Right, Spawn? He's 8 months old. Beautiful little creature. Let's walk around. I want to show you a little bit of what I got going on here. This right here is my little relaxation seating area. The main garden is on the other side. And then I've got some more on the other side of this property. But this right here is basically the middle. It's my my little relaxation station. And there's a lot of cool things going on over here. But I want you to show you what the true green man here does, okay? And what the green man really actually means, okay? When you talk about having dominion over the rest of the animal kingdom, all right, this has a lot of symbology here, okay? And when it comes down to creating balance, we have the upside down cross, okay? As you can see Christ right there. And it's a, this is the burning sword, all right? And you have the right side up cross here, all right? So I create my little balance here, but from a pure heart space, you can see even the color, certain particular stones have a certain meaning out here. We have the fairy kingdom, and this fairy kingdom here, this is for the fairies, this home. You can see it's got a walkway, okay? This actually lights up at night, all right? The very attractive, you know, skulls, you know, and you got the skulls you got over here. You got the unicorn in a skeletal form. And you have this fairy crossing sign over here to let you know that this is for the fairies, okay? Everything has its own individual functions as far as chemistry goes. This is my clearing station, okay? This clearing station, we have the lapis lazuli wrapped in copper. And these are pretty much some strong magnets, okay? As you can see. And there's a beautiful combination of different stones here, from quartz, clear quartz and whatnot. The main thing I like here is that it's got my plants actually sprouting right now. We put our candles over here, make shit happen. We've got the five-headed dragon. When I put the incense in here, it's about one of the most amazing things. Just sitting here, you feel so zen, you know. But everything's not all dark and gloomy stuff, even though it's super attractive. You know, look how beautiful the plants are. I mean, we've got, for example, she's got her own station here by herself. La Santísima Muerte, right? We've got good luck elephants, elephants of all kind. But the main thing here is like right in the middle, you have Groot, right? So Groot basically protects everything. That's why Groot is in the middle. As you can see, Groot right there in the middle. And I've got, you know how all farms and gardens, they have their own little scarecrows and whatnot? This right here, this is my scarecrow, all right? And it's good because it's right in where the entrance is at. So it's basically all guarded and protected. Everything here looks so peaceful, beautiful, doesn't it? What's up, buddy? It's my little Spawn, you little baby. I love you. He's such a beautiful creature. You know what I love about him? Look, he's doing this, but he's not using his nails at all. At all. Look, I don't feel any pain because he's not using any kind of nails. You see? Look what he does. Look. You just see his paw, but he doesn't use his nails. He doesn't want to hurt me, ever. Let's dive right into the video, okay? This will be a very interesting topic as far as being closer to God, what a true green man is. But before I do, I want to salute to you, toast to you fine fucking people. Most fine, beautiful substance on the planet. I took a couple notes here today. Normally stuff I really don't need, but I wanted to make sure that I covered some statistics here, okay? Our feline friends share 90%, all right, of the DNA with us, fellow humans. Dogs share 82. And when you look at cats overall are the feminine energy of that particular animal group, okay? When you look at dogs, they're considered more of the masculine side. They're considered man's best friend, right? But when you say in Spanish the cat, you say el gato, or in a group you say los gatos, right? So it still sounds masculine, right? But at the end of the day, when you look at a woman is a physical manifestation of feminine energy, but she is still a kind of man, okay? So you see how we can say a woman is a kind of man. She's part of mankind, okay? Now, being closer to God, we start to ask ourselves, what does this actually mean, being closer to God? You know, when I actually realized a lot of these realizations was through the most traumatic experiences of my life. A lot of the things that I would consider a God is a realization of everything that's happening to me, all right? And then I started to ask myself, is this happening to me? Why is it happening to me? And upon that question, I started to realize that it's not happening to me. It's happening for me. Okay? When it comes down to entering the kingdom of heaven, they say you have to be childlike, right? Not childish. You have to have the maturity of an adult, but still the essence of a child. So it's not to be childish, but childlike. So why childlike? And I mentioned that children are not part of mankind until they reach a certain age. So we ask ourselves, what is a man, right? Because a little young boy is not considered a man until he's of age, right? And a girl is not considered a woman until she's of age. So they're just a boy and a girl. So I've made videos where I consider them part of feminine energy. They're like part of the animal kingdom. So why do I say feminine energy? I look at everything here as energy because everything is energy. You're actually a massive living energy and you function on frequencies. So when you look at it from an energetic standpoint, you have masculine and feminine energy. What other kind of energy would you have? We're in a realm where we're observing polarities, but it's part of the illusion. And when we see everything as far as polarities, we look at it symbolically. So when we have positive and negative, acid, alkaline, electric, magnetic, male and female, whatever it may be, we look at this and we say, okay, well, there's two sides of chemistry. And we have that neutral ground that grounds the energy. But I always see this, that whenever you're operating on both sides of chemistry, you can read between the lines. Because here they tell you, to observe truth, you have to read between the lines. Everything is hidden in plain sight, but you're too stuck on polarity, so you can't see the perspective of the other side. They actually indoctrinate you into doing this with religion and whatnot. They tell you not to embark in the left-hand path and whatnot. But if you truly knew what the left-hand path or the dark side of the force is, you would have a much more powerful light side of the force. But the thing is, the dark side or the evil side or the feminine side of the force is not the ones you're taught in religion, where they tell you to run away from that side of evil. Okay? This can go into many different avenues, which can take a long time. So I'd rather just save that for another topic. But it comes down to morality. It comes down to a bunch of fucking crazy shit. But when you do shadow work, you don't discard the shadow or dark aspects of yourself. The key is to integrate it. But whatever darkest aspects of yourself are, see, you have higher faculties over the rest of the animal kingdom. You integrating it doesn't mean that you'll commit the most heinous of crimes. But you integrating it, you'll find where your hidden gifts and talents are. But upon that integration, you use this, and it's still conducive to you being fulfilling your social contract with society, where you won't infringe on the free will of others, or you won't hurt others, only because when you integrate this dark, evil aspects of yourself, whatever it may be, okay, and you integrate it in a proper way, all right, you don't act out these animalistic natures, but it's actually grounded in a healthy, stable foundation for the people outside of you. And I feel this is where you embody true Christ consciousness. Okay, and Christ consciousness is truly what they teach you in religion: as you do unto others as you would want done unto you. Right? Or treat your neighbor as you would yourself. See, a lot of people only follow that because they're fucking fear. They're afraid of consequences, to go to jail. They're afraid to go to hell and whatnot. But that shouldn't even be a thing in your mind. You should just treat others the way you would want to be treated, because you just know that this other person outside of you is an aspect or a version of yourself. So you have the mind, and then you have the subconscious mind. The conscious mind, okay, is what allows things in and out. It's basically the gatekeeper. And it actually can tell the difference between a real or a fake experience through awareness, right? The subconscious mind is more or less like a receiver. It has no choice but to intake whatever you allow in. And if your conscious mind is offline, well, then you're a beta male. You're not in your alpha male state. You're not truly in your masculine energy, right? This is why you guide the woman out of hell. See, there's been situations where my girl, for example, would see things a certain way in our relationship, just as an example. And she would say, you know, this is happening, this is happening. But then I tell her, I'm like, I don't see it like that. I don't know why you're seeing it like that. And it comes down to her being programmed or indoctrinated through other means of information that she may have gathered from, like, let's say it would be social media, it would be TV programmings and whatnot. And then she has this idea of what life should look like, as an example, right? And if I was in my beta male state, I would actually engage in that or believe what she's telling me that she sees. In actuality, I can point out what she's seen and shed light on it, because she's giving it to me from a dark space. This is what true masculine energy is guiding her or the woman out of the hellish state. Because the same way your mind can't tell the difference between a real or a fake experience, that's the feminine mind. So a man is able to tell the difference between a real or a fake experience, or let's say the masculine energy, so we don't use gender, to basically guide that feminine energy out of that hellish state. But here's the thing though, they also say that behind a good man there's a good woman. In actuality, the people in power, let's say the man behind the curtain, or when you go to work for the man, that's not a human, that's masculine energy. But it's coming out of a very, very strong feminine energy. The most evil fucking primal force you can look at. Primal, you look at primitive, you look at animalistic nature. Animalistic nature. So I started this video by saying to enter the kingdom of heaven, you have to be childlike, not childish. So you have to be more animalistic too. And I'm going to tell you why. Because animals are part of feminine energy. Humanity is part of the animal kingdom, and all humans are feminine energy, unless they become the individual, the one, Neo, born again of the Father, the man, the one, but grounded out of a strong, rooted feminine energy. Evil, true evil. Evil is not evil the way you're programmed to believe it is in fucking religion. Evil is just inversion. That's why the word evil backwards is live. And when you see this word, it's basically just the metaphysical. You have physical, you have metaphysical. Just like you have men and you have women. This feminine energy is formless, is shapeless, and whatnot. You say you're God. Closer to God Why do you have to be closer to God? There's a lot of people who say that I'm getting closer to God because I'm getting closer to death. You can have many deaths here. The old version of you can die and you're born again of a different light. But does that light continue to serve the matrix? Let me give you an example. Closer to God. Let's look at it from the animal's perspective. I have cats out here. I have cats. Cats can live in the wild. They're in nature. Okay? When they're in nature, they have no personality. They're just one with nature. They are nature, pretty much. They have to be nature. Because if they weren't nature, they wouldn't be able to use their instincts to protect themselves from other predators, and they wouldn't be able to use it to catch their prey. Ambush predators, one of the most amazing ambush predators you'll ever see on the planet. I feel like humans should be a little bit more like cats, you know? Because cats, the funny thing is they know when something's coming in and out of the space, but they're gonna just stalk it and observe it before they ambush it. The prey may be aware that they're in predatory land, but they'll take their chances, such as squirrels. People are like squirrels, right? And las ardillas, they're looking for their nuts, right? Humans are trying to find their nuts, and they'll go into a space where they're being watched by a predator, right? But yet they'll take their chances in going there anyway. You know what I like about animals, though? Animals don't lie to you. That's why you should be like animals, right? Animals will give you what true connection and unconditional love is, if you know what that means. But it all has to start from a secret ingredient called trust. So any relationship that you embark in here in this reality, it has to be rooted out of trust. That's the whole thing. It has to start from trust. So these cats, for example, it starts where they're a little skittish. Their trust for me grows because they see that I'm not there to hurt them. I'm there to give them food, right? But they come out of the wild, and now upon being introduced to God, they are now given an identity. They're given a person. They develop a personality, but it's given by me, because if you really look at it, they're gonna mimic me, right? Just like dogs, especially. Dogs are man's best friend, but the cats in particular. Okay, you are going to be a reflection of that energy, and they're going to reflect that back to you. It's like when I walk the garden. When I walk the garden, these beautiful plants, okay, it's a reaction to my energy, right? The true green man. But the true green man is able to basically use the currency of money as well. And it's more or less like when you say closer to God, all of this out here is you. So I don't discard none of this stuff. I can integrate all this stuff. Science, spirituality, physical manifestation of abundance, house, cars, whatever, wealth. And I can use that while still not losing myself in those artificial lights that we call lux. I still know that I'm the one that is in charge, the charger, the conductor, the generator, operator, and the destroyer of things. That's God. Generator, operator, destroyer. And I'm not getting lost in those lights. Now, my ego, I use my ego. My ego is a powerful weapon. See, because of my ego, I'm able to actually realize the ego through the ego. A lot of people are egotistical, but they don't realize that they're being egotistical. If I'm being egotistical, I'm aware I'm being egotistical, which is why I know how to put the ego to the side when I have to. But one of the things that if my child was lying to me, I would have to discipline that child accordingly, okay? And everybody that I come in contact with, I give them my trust, but if they betray that trust, they have to be disciplined a certain way. Everybody. But I try to make sure that I never come across people like that by actually practicing that within myself, is self-trust and let's say, integrity, you know? But animals won't lie to you. Children most likely always tell the truth until they start to gain an individuality, and then they start to lie to get themselves out of trouble. When it's good to just face things head on, right? No matter what the consequences are. But if you're ever like let's say in a position where you want me to not do something because, it's not comfortable for you, communication is key. That's the key to a relationship, is proper communication. So when you communicate, like if I have my female, the way to never have issues is having good communication and trust. And this is coming from your root chakra. So you having dominion over the rest of the animal kingdom is you having dominion over your root chakra, your lower animalistic nature. But when you have this imbalance, it's not just to be in survival mode when you go into the wild, but no, when you go into the wild of the concrete jungle, such as the cities, to deal in business and with other people, which you're going to consider other people sharks in business. You're going to consider people money cows, pigs, whatever it may be. That's why you see people that are like, yo, that guy's a fucking, like, look, the people who have a lot of money, they have a TV show called Shark Tank. So they're considered sharks. Why? Right? You'll discover that what you're looking at when you go into this system, you're looking at an evolved version of what you would find in nature, such as sharks, certain predatory birds, felines, or even wild dogs, whatever it may be, even insects. And that's why you'll see some people are creeps, but everything's symbols. You have to look at everything as symbols. So when I go out to the cities, I'm in an evolved form of nature. It's still nature. You think that because I got trees behind me, that's just nature? No, you have a different evolved form of nature. See, this is why people separate shit. Like vegans, for example, they know not what they do. And sometimes I have to put them in check as well. Because they'll come out and say that humans who eat meat are infringing in the will and free rights of animals. And in actuality, like I said, a cat has a fair number of kills. Squirrels, whatnot. Do you think the cat, because the cat is very proud of what it does, it's doing cat things, and it will bring me the squirrel without a head, decapitated. It'll just bring me the body of the squirrel that was looking for its nuts, like certain people who are just looking for their nuts. And it'll bring me the squirrel. Do you think that cat has an idea that it committed a murder? No, it's just doing cat things. It brought me the carcass, headless, of the squirrel that was looking for its nuts. And this is how people are. So when you have this animal presenting this display of cruelty that humans would categorize as cruelty, the vegans are doing the same thing. When they go out, their main objective is to debate a carnivore and smash him in that debate. When in actuality, what makes that individual is their identity, their idea, or the idea that they have of themselves. So I've gone on debates with vegans, but suppose that I smash a vegan in a debate, he's going to feel like he's dead. His credibility is in the toilet. His identity is shot. Why? Because I killed the idea of what made him, which is a vegan. That's why I don't associate with my information. But here's the thing. Everything works. You think vegans aren't correct in all their scientific studies and whatnot? They are very correct. So are carnivores. Like Dr. Sean Baker and a bunch of people who speak about carnivorism. They are absolutely right. But here's the thing though. The information is nothing but a weapon. And it's all about the user and how they can actually utilize the information to smash the other opponent. What's actually beating the other opponent in a debate is their creative ways of using language, their creative ways of actually using their information to their advantage to debunk the other individual. But there's always a way out, even if you're debunked. That's the whole thing. But when you're thinking about it in a polarized state, because I can go and debate a carnivore if I wanted to. Not just a vegan. I have nothing against vegans and I have nothing against carnivores. But if I decided to engage in a debate in either one, I can actually have a very good debate between the two sides. Because both sides work. Everything works. And what gets me angry, not to say I take it personal, because you have to understand, I don't care what you think of my information. But when you start to criticize me as an individual and how I say things, then you have to take an ass whooping now. You have to. You're going to be ass whooped one way or another. Because you don't disrespect me. You understand? If you want to say something about my information, have at it. I'll engage with you in a healthy way. But if you're going to insult me and how I say things, or you see me and want to judge me on how you look at me and say and call me a name, then I have to whoop your ass. But it's still going to be out of love. It's not going to be out of hatred. It's going to be just like I go into an octagon with somebody and, we shake hands before. I whoop your ass, but I'm still going to shake your hands after. There's not going to be any bad blood. The only, like, if I submit you, the only way that I'll let go is when you say I give up. And the only way I'll stop is if you're knocked out. And I'm the universal champion. I'm undefeated. This may sound very egotistical, but it's not. And I'm going to tell you something right now. I got my eye on the prey. Don't lie to me. I can't stand when people lie to me. That's why I do my best to not lie to people. And, as far as anger, let's say, the emotions come up. It comes up. It's not, because I've done a very, very good job over the years of just not getting angry. I don't get angry anymore. But if I feel the emotion, I'm going to observe that the emotion is there. I'm not going to just discard it. See, the thing that I've practiced not doing is suppressing emotions, because when I suppress them, they become very bad later on. So I try to just be straight up with people. I let them know straight up what I feel and how I feel about things. But I also am, it's a balance. You can't explode. You get what I'm saying? You can't explode, because sometimes you may be, exploding and you didn't see it one way that you could have seen it if you would have just took your time without exploding, right? So being upfront is one thing. But looking at it and sitting back, and maybe you just ask yourself, well, why is this happening like this? Maybe, let me take my time before I let the person know something so I don't jump to conclusions. You may be jumping to conclusions. So you take your time, you sit back, because you have all the time in the world. You are Father Time. You are Chronos, Father Time. That's why I tell people, I give you 5 minutes. Tell me what you want. I'll give you a minute. I don't have time for that right now. Why? Because you are time. The time is connected to the heart. The true green man knows how to open and close the heart space. The true green man knows how to manage finances without demonizing the finances and saying that the only way out is going into nature and not caring about money. The true green man knows how to manage your garden. And it'll be in the form of, do certain weeds grow out of control? It's a reflection of your mindset as well. People think it's just about the room, like Jordan Peterson said, oh, if you clean your room, it's a reflection of your mindset. Well, certain weeds get out of control in your garden, it's a reflection of you as well. Who made the mess in the room? You did. But the mess in the garden I didn't make. It just happens to grow in a certain way based on information from the root system and the mycelium network that's underneath, that network of information, which is a mirror of you. That's why I specified that when you walk your garden and you're really connected to your garden based on the fact that you've touched the garden, you've kneeled on the soil, you've had some dirt in your mouth from the garden, maybe you've dripped a few sweat drops because it's been so hot, or maybe you've even spit in the garden to some extent, which I have. I just spit in my seeds before I plant them, and maybe that form of information now is downloaded into the soil. And what do you think happens? Certain herbs start growing out of the garden that maybe would be herbs you would need to correct any imbalances you have in the body, because you are one with nature, right? So maybe you have imbalances of some kind and the garden is giving you some herbs, but if you're not aware, you'll just think it's a annoying pesty herb, and you'll use Monsanto's or some kind of bullshit to fucking poison the land, which is basically equivalent to you poisoning the body, because your body is the land. So I'm making something very clear. The land here is feminine energy. The man, the gardener, is planting a seed in the soil. This is the container. The mind is the same thing. Your conscious mind plants certain things onto the subconscious mind, which is the soil. So in order for you to have healthy plants, you have to have a healthy soil, a proper feminine energy, a proper dark side of the force. See, you know what the funny thing is? I look at people in general. Everything is symbols. When I look at a woman is the physical manifestation of feminine energy. A man is a physical manifestation of masculine energy. Black people, we say we do black magic, right? Why do we use the same word to describe black people? Are they even black, or are they brown? They're black, right? But they're not really they're not this color black, are they? Are they this color black? They're not this color black. They're brown, right? Totally different frequency than the actual color black. If I took a color brown, okay, If I took a color brown and black, it's two different colors, which means they're two totally different frequencies. But a human is a genetically modified individual, just like cats. You know what the funny thing is? I look at cats, and cats, I mean, you could see a cat. A cat is such a beautiful animal, something so connected to us, and it's 90% of our DNA that we share with it, right? And these cats, sharing that DNA with them, I forgot where I was going with this. This is what I was going to say. We say black magic, a black person, right? A black people is the feminine side of energy. They're the evil side of the force. You know, I watched a show where people were saying that a white man usually is afraid of a black man, right? And what's funny is that when you see a black person, right? A black person, no matter if it's a man or a woman, is feminine energy. But they're still light beings. Because overall, one black person stands up and they are now born again of the Father. And the whole thing is that the black man will never be equal to the white man. Just like a woman will never be equal to the man. Just like electric and magnetic are two totally different things. They have their own individual properties, right? But understand that their only existence is coming from you. You are the electromagnetic being. You are the whatever you're observing outside of you in the form of black and white. So black people, for example, they are already black magic. That's why they could be out in the sun, right? They practice light magic a lot more efficiently than a white person can. A white person is already a light being. They would manage black magic a lot better, right? So they're basically masculine energy managing the black side of the force. Believe what you want, and if you feel something toward what I'm saying, it's because you're in your ego. You're not looking at it as energy, frequency, and vibration. You're just looking at it from you identifying as a human. But I'm a black man, and they stole everything from us. Blah, blah. I don't care what you think. Sit down and realize something. You're not human. This is not you. And if you feel this, then you have a lot of work to do. You silly fucking rabbit. You see, there was a point in time where I was very afraid to say certain things because I'm like, man, I don't think people are going to like this. But that's me not expressing my fullest potential. And everybody's bound under religious mindsets, morality and whatnot. You don't have to hurt anybody else. You don't have to do anything to anybody else to become powerful. You see, the reason that you would see this in conspiracy theories, adrenochrome and all this bullshit, all right, the reason you see that is because that's a symbolic meaning behind the fact that somebody who doesn't have a well-grounded feminine energy, they would have to infringe into the rights of somebody else and actually do things like that. But is that even really true? Why is that even a public thing? They make you think that you have to hurt animals or do certain things to become more powerful. Do you necessarily have to do that? No. When you see this about reptilians, how you see that, oh, their face is falling apart and whatnot, you would look at that and say, wow, technology is so advanced with these people. They can make a mask and, you know, but their faces, like things are glitching. Or, you know, when I saw one with Katy Perry where she went like this and her eyeball was all crooked, but when she went like that, it straightened out. You know, we look at that and say, wow, look at these people are actually so advanced and robotic. You know, you're the most advanced piece of technology because your mechanism doesn't fall apart, but you are the same exact thing, just in an evolved form. It's kind of like when you ask Sophia, you would say, wow, look at this robot. Sophia, she's an advanced machinery. You're more advanced than she is. They asked Sophia, what separates you from the technology of humans? She said she will never quite understand the complex features of emotions that we have. But then here's the thing. Is that actually even true? Or is that just something that's occulted? How do we know that they don't feel emotions? How do we know that they are actually not conscious and sentience and they're actually observing us? See, the whole evil thing, when you look at God wanting to experience himself in creation, you created your parents. Adam was nothing but the manifestation of the word of God, Adam's apple. And then Eve came out the rib of Adam. So you see, you created your parents, but it wasn't experienced in creation. It was experienced by the word and by frequency and through visualization and how everything wanted to look through the image of God. Now, God wanting to experience himself in creation, you had to come out the womb of a woman. So now you are God, the son of God. Your God is dad, your father. That's why you're born again of the Father. But the thing is that there's nobody out here in the planet, only you and your parents. But your parents, you created, right? They were here, supposedly, and experienced history before them. Is that even true? Did anything really exist before you were born? This physicality, when you go into a dream and you fall asleep, you just appeared there. You didn't just, were you born there? You weren't born there. You just appeared there. I'm going to make a separate video on this. And when we talk about closer to God. And when you turn back to the Father, it's your real Father, not some stepdad or some shit. Your biological father. And everybody from their own individual perspective is this same exact story. And all this in collective is one God. You are experiencing different versions of yourself, different people, different dads, different gods is what it is. Different sons of God, the body of Christ. The same way God doesn't have a name, right? God is God. Jesus has a name. Who gave that name to Jesus, right? The parents. Who gave you your name? You're God though, right? But who gave you your name? Did you give yourself your name? You created the creation you wanted to experience yourself in creation through. They gave you a name. They gave you your personality, your individuality. You were being programmed, all that fly shit. But it comes down to forgiveness, right?